Afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you, depending where you are in the world. So I've had some problems. My laptop seems to be messed up, so I'm having to find alternative methods to do this devotion. But I'm doing what should have been the nighttime devotion from last night. I'm reading from the devotional To Be Like Jesus. And the title today is Principles of the Gospel Must Control Us. The scripture reading is taken from the book of Luke 13 verse 7. Then he said to the keeper of the vineyard, "Look, for 3 years I have come seeking fruit on this fig tree and find none. Cut it down. Why does it use up the ground?" The Lord would be pleased to have his people, The Lord would be pleased to have his people more considerate than they now are, more merciful and more helpful to one another. When the love of Christ is in the heart, each will be tenderly regardful of the interests of others. Brothers and sisters will not take advantage of each other in business transactions. They will not charge exorbitant interest because they see their brothers or sisters in a close place where they must have help. Those who will take advantage of the necessities of another prove conclusively that they are not governed by the principles of the gospel of the Christ. Their course is recorded in the books of heaven as fraud and dishonesty. And wherever these principles rule, the blessing of the Lord will not come into the heart. Such persons are receiving the impress of the great adversary rather than that of the Spirit of God. But those who shall finally inherit the heavenly kingdom must be transformed by divine grace. They must be pure in heart and life and possess symmetrical character. All the means you may accumulate, even though it thought should be millions, will not be sufficient to pay a ransom for your soul. They do not remain in impenitence and unbelief and defeat the gracious purposes of our Father. Do not force from his reluctant hand destruction of your property or affliction of your person. How many there are who are now taking a course which must ere long lead to just such visitations of judgment. They live on day by day, week by week, year by year, for their own selfish interest. Their influence and means, accumulated through God-given skill and tact, are used upon themselves and their families without thought of their gracious benefactor. Nothing is allowed to flow back to the giver. At last, his patience with these unfaithful stewards is exhausted, and he brings all their selfish, worldly schemes to an abrupt termination, showing them that as they have gathered for their own glory, he can scatter, and they are helpless to resist his power. All the means you may accumulate, even if it's millions, will not be sufficient to pay that ransom for your soul. And no matter how big your bank account, how big your house, how much food you have, where you get it from, however it is, nothing of this world can save your soul.